Oh, whilst speaking of hearts and morphs, so let's don't need to save that one. That's the one we want. So save as. Right, so save that. So just a little bit about the morphs, actually, because... So let's save this just to make sure I'm saved. So if you haven't been watching the streams that we've been doing previously, we've been messing around with morphs, or shape keys as they are called in Blender. Where is that file gone? You can do some pretty interesting things with them. So one of the problems that we discovered in previous episodes of the real Blender, on previous episodes we discovered that when you start adding animation to furniture items, depending on how you've got the furniture item set up, it can overcomplicate the project in terms of what it brings in to IMVU, because it ends up dealing with, or having to deal with, multiple objects. So you have multiple meshes, multiple skeletal objects, multiple all sorts of things, multiples of everything, and it doesn't work terribly well when you do that. So a better way of doing it is to combine everything, so you have a minimum of objects that are being exported, imported via FBX. So what you can do is combine all your mesh objects together and essentially just animate the mesh as an object in its own right. So it is animated. Oh, remove that. So that is that hearobike? Yes. So just temporarily remove that. So you are simply animated for node-based furniture. That is, you're simply animating a single node, not a skeleton, not an armature. But the problem with that, obviously, is that you don't have any significant control over the mesh without making the skeleton, which are all these nodes. When you use nodes, if you start to make things really complicated, it doesn't like it. But that then means using an armature, which means overcomplicating an armature. With shape keys, you can get some very interesting animation results without using complicated skeletons and things, by just using different shapes of the objects. So at the moment there are 3 sets of shape keys for this object. One set shrinks the hearts. This is the smoke that's coming out. One set shrinks the hearts down so they are just basically pooped out of the pipes of the bike. Another set of keys, or shape keys, slides the hearts from front to back, so from the back of the bike outwards. There's a third set of keys that splays them outwards a little bit, and there will be eventually a fourth set that change the it's not the pitch, change the height of the hearts as it goes along. But all of this can be exported and imported and work as a functional animated objects using using shape keys instead of complicated skeletons and actions. And it'll give you exactly the same sort of controls that you need over the objects, but it just simplifies furniture items, so you can keep your furniture itself very simple in terms of the structure being linked to or chained together as a hierarchy within the FBX file, which are much easier to work with. It's much easier to work with nodes than it is bones and armatures, but you can do some pretty sophisticated sequences. The only caveat is there are issues, there are genuine issues, unlike what we were just talking about with the heart. With that, there are genuine issues doing more complicated sequences with morph targets. So if you try and do something a bit more complex with morphs, so for example there are two morph animations. One is a stance.idle, which has no hearts appearing at all, so they're all hidden from view, and as soon as the bike is used, the hearts are supposed to be pooped out the back of the pipes as smoke. But there's an issue, or there appears to be an issue, with the way that the morphs interact with one another. They don't seem to be cancelling each other out correctly, which is breaking the sequence. So these hearts are appearing upside down when they should be appearing right side up. This is going to play out slow because of streaming. So morph animations or shape keys, you can do quite a lot of stuff with them. They're quite versatile. They just do need a bit of forethought. So that was just a little catch up with the hearobike. So although we can't get a fully functional hearobike with the hearts operating in the way that we want them to, because of a potential issue, they can be used. It just means that you have to think about how you use them. So we're okay doing things like that, beating hearts, which is a very simple, straightforward shape key animation. But doing things like that, or well, doing things that should appear like that, are a bit more tricky. Because ideally you want an idle animation where there's nothing appearing at frames 1 and 2, which is your idle loop. So this plays over and over and over. The hearts would not appear, so it'd have to correct that. But that would be your idle loop. And then as soon as the bike is being used, it switches to a repeatable or cycling loop where the hearts just appear to be pooped out the pipes. So there we go, morph animations. We can use them, but we have to be a bit we have to plan them out, or it's a bit experimental, so there's a bit more trial and error involved with morph animations than there are with other animations. So that is something to be aware of. when using them, but they do work. So there we go. Right, so that was just a quick update on what was being done earlier, whilst it was still on the mind after just being sussed out. So we'll find something to do for the next stream, I should think. So thanks for lurkers. Remember to subscribe, follow, join, click buttons and things. And then, oh, I know what we might be able to do next one. Well, we'll see. Right, okay, so thanks everyone for that. It was just a short one today, for now, just to catch up. We shall see you on the next stream. So, bye for now.